guys have just fed into each other. Tell me about the trust that you're feeling on the floor right now with your guys.
Yeah, it extends way longer than from the tip-off of the game or the beginning of the series or the beginning of the playoffs. We've all been in the gym working together, improving, getting better, and everybody sees how hard each other works, and because of that, we know what we're capable of, and we're able to kind of trust each other, knowing that we're all in it together.
Yeah, Chet, you guys were down 9 with about 8 minutes left, and Lou hit those 3 shots in about a 5-possession span. Besides the points and catching up, what did seeing those 3 shots go in do for everybody's confidence, morale, energy, all those things?
I think you said it really well when you said energy. He hit some big shots, made a lot of big plays. He has a hard task chasing around a lot of ball screens all game long. I'm sure it's exhausting, and I'm sure it's hard to do that every single time down and then go down and shoot the ball. So, he's being asked to do something that's extremely difficult, and the point in the game when he made those shots was huge. It completely turned the game around, and like you said, changed the energy, changed just changed the whole game. Shout out Lou.
Chet, I'm curious what you expect going to Denver in a closeout game from you guys.
I expect nothing less than what it is. It's a closeout game in Denver against a really good team, and we have to be locked in and ready to bring it, knowing that closeout games are the hardest games. On top of that, being on the road, we have to understand what's at stake, and we can't let that kind of drift us from doing what we need to do to win the game. We can't focus so much on winning the game that we don't win every aspect throughout the game, every minute of the game. We have to focus on where we're at in the game when we get there, and leading up to it, starting pretty much now, doing what we have to do to get ready for it. So.
What's it do for, that comeback? Lou got it started, but Shai hits a big 3. Jalen hits a big 3 on the rotation of the ball. You alter the shots. What's it do for the growth of the team when so many guys contribute to a win like this, a comeback? Kind of like in game 1 where they came back late on you. You come back late on them in this game.
Yeah, I think it just kind of it adds to the experiences. Obviously, we've had some tough experiences so far. Obviously, this one feels a lot better, but win or lose, we're going to look at this and see where we can be better. We made some great plays down the stretch, and we're going to look at those and figure out, why they went in our favor, and, figure out how to keep doing that going forward, knowing that the other team is on the other side of that, looking at how they could be better in those situations, and it's going to be a back and forth, and we just have to trust that, continuing to work on it with the right intentions and everything is going to put us in a better position than the other team.
Chet, when you talk about the mental and physical roller coaster guarding Jokic, when you think you got him doing something, then he ends up with the fourth quarter the way he did, can you talk about the roller coaster with him?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's just him. That's the NBA. It's the best league in the world. There's really good players. There's a lot on the line, and everybody's locked in. And you just have to understand that, I don't know how many games have been played in NBA history. No team's ever scored 0 points, so you're never going to shut anybody out. It's just understanding that you have to make things as tough as possible, not only on a team but on certain players and certain aspects. You have to understand what they want to do, what they're not as good at. Try and force them to the things they're not as good at, and then trust that puts you in a position to win the game. He's a really good player, so you're not going to shut him out. It's just you have to make things as tough as you can on him and his team, and trust that puts you in a position to win the game.
Chet, there were obviously moments of big celebration in the course of that game, but at the very end of the game, it was sort of a been there, done that almost attitude that I saw out of you guys, not sort of going crazy, celebrating, that sort of thing. What does it say just about the mentality, approach, just where this team is to have come through a game like that in big stakes and just sort of be, I mean, not going crazy at the end, I guess?
Yeah, I would just say understanding that, we've been on the other side of it. And whether you're on the winning side or the losing side, it can't be these big ups and downs. You have to stay really steady, knowing that, we're flying to Denver tomorrow to play another game. So that's not the end-all, be-all. And I feel like collectively we have a good understanding of that. And, now we have to turn the page from this game and get ready for the next one.
Chet, with some coaches, you can see them sort of just lose confidence in guys. Mark's been just very, very apparent and just open about not losing confidence in guys like you and Lou. Lou tonight has a slow start, turns it around. You had something sort of similar against Memphis earlier in the playoffs. What is sort of the value of having a coach like that who you know has your back?
It's extremely important. A lot of credit goes to Mark on that one. He's going to stick in there with if he believes in you. He's not an outcome-oriented person. If you're out there with the right process, the right intentions, trying to make the right plays, the outcome of those plays isn't necessarily what he's focused on in the short term. If you have a track record behind you, he's going to believe in that more so than, what happened in the short-term memory of things. And Lou has a track record of coming up big for us on both ends of the floor, and, it's going to take a lot more than that for not only Mark but us to lose confidence in him. We saw tonight why you just can't do that.
Chet, the play is probably lost on you now because, between everything that happened in those last few minutes, it's probably one of the crazier clutch finishes in the league in recent memory. But the three that Jokic hits late clock, 1 foot, like what's going through your head when that happens, and what do you think now that you guys managed to close it out even after that?
Yeah. Immediately afterwards, my thought was going towards the next possession. Once the shot goes in, you're not going to change that. It's now, all right, what do we have to do on the other end to, keep things moving forward. But, I'm going to go back, and obviously it's a tough shot. Credit to him. But I'm going to go back and watch and see what I can do to make it tougher on him, defend it better, make him miss a shot. Again, understanding great players make plays. You're not going to shut them out, but he made the shot, so it's a makeable shot. So you got to figure out how to defend it better.
Anybody else? Thank you, Jeff.
Shai, between just continuing to play the guys deep into the roster that you're playing, the extra passing that you all made late, tell me about the feel of the trust that you guys have out on the floor.
Yeah, we had no choice. The game obviously wasn't going our way, and we always say like the answer is never like a hero play or anything out of the ordinary. It's being who we are. It's trusting each other. It's playing with all five on both ends, and whatever the problem is, we can fix it with the collective effort and not a single effort. And that's all we try to focus on when it wasn't going our way. We did enough to get a W.
Shai, maybe you don't view it as a hero play, but the three you hit late, you've been telling us that you're fit for that moment all series. That's sort of the shot that's been nagging you all series. What does it feel like in that moment when it hits, and I guess what are your thoughts down the stretch as it becomes obvious that you're going to pull away?
It felt like it's about time. Now I always say, like, especially jump shooting, it goes up and down. It fluctuates so much. You can't get caught up in the emotion of it. It's just about, like, the discipline in it and staying true to it. And I could have turned it down and And like, because I had missed, I didn't make a 3 last game. I didn't make a 3 this game up until that point. I could have turned it down, but it's something that I'm confident in, and because of my confidence, it paid dividends tonight.
And just Mark was in here talking about Lou's impact, specifically the threes he hit. He compared it to. He said him hitting those threes is like when a family member's hurt or sad, like the contagiousness of the energy plays like that bring. Just what did you sense the team felt after the quarter he had?
Yeah, it was big. Lou hadn't been shooting the ball great, obviously, but that just speaks to the worker and the person he is to step into those shots with confidence. Obviously, they're guarding us a certain way, and those shots have been there, and they haven't been falling. And tonight, he stepped into those with confidence, and like it's clear as day, we wouldn't have been able to win tonight if Lou doesn't make those shots. So his braveness to shoot them and his confidence to take them, but nothing out of the ordinary. That's who Lou is. That's his character, and he came up big tonight.
Go ahead.
So it seemed like your offense started clicking in the second half, getting to the basket in transition, maybe getting your spots a little quicker on the mid-range shot. What felt better in the second half versus first half for you?
Just settling into the game. They're like throwing different coverages, going from zone to man so often. Like just taking what the game gives you, settling into it, and living with the result.
Yeah, Vince, go ahead.
Shai, the narrative this season has been about will Oklahoma City have the maturity, the experience to take the next step. I'm curious how much responsibility as the presumptive MVP do you feel on helping getting this franchise over that hump right now?
A lot of responsibility. For me, first and foremost, like winning is the end all be all. That's why I play basketball, and I know that across the locker room. So like whatever it takes to get that done is what our minds is on, and it's not just me, it's not just coach, it's not just Sam. Like it's across the locker room, and I think that's why we've been able to win basketball games this year. Now we all know that we can't get ahead of ourselves, and we got to play the play in front of us. If we want to get there, we can't skip those steps, and that's what we focus on.
Jenny?
Shai, Mark was in here saying that you guys aren't trying to answer anybody else's questions, but I'm wondering with tonight and maybe even tacking it on to Game 4, what answers are you guys providing yourselves with the way you finished these last 2 games?
When we do what we're supposed to do, and we are locked in on both ends of the floor, we're able to go on runs. And when we don't do it on either end of the floor, it leads to their runs. So like Coach said, I don't think nothing's been unexpected or wowed us in our performances. It's been what we know all year, and all year we've been building those habits to make sure that we are ready for these moments and ready for these games, and we have one more to go get.
Shai, I know you just respect great players, so you're in a series with a great player with Jokic. What have you learned just watching him play and watching him compete, or how he goes about his business in these kind of games?
Yeah, I think above all, like he's very smart. I think that's what gives him his edge. He's very smart. He's always manipulating the game. He's always thinking plays ahead. He's reading the defenses, reading the offenses. Like he's his intelligence is very high out there, and he's always using it.
Shai, going back to Lou, we've seen him hit big shots from the beginning, really, even going back to the bubble and that Game 7. Like, what is it about maybe his personality in these big moments?
Yeah, it's his confidence. He works hard, and he trusts his work. It's that simple. And he doesn't waver, whether it's makes or misses. Like, I think last game, he started 0 for 4 from 3 and shot his 5th one like it was his first shot of the game. Like, Lou's special in that aspect. Like, his confidence is unwavering, and it's turned him into the NBA player and the basketball player he is. And without it, he wouldn't be as good as he is. So hats off to Lou.
Andrew, go ahead.
Yeah, J-Dub hit that big shot in the corner down the stretch. You know, Denver calls a timeout. You know, what's going through your head at that moment?
I think it was Lou. Good pass, hard, good screening. But I think that play we just took what they gave us. I think I drove, they doubled me, I moved it, the next guy moved it, and we found the open man, and the open man was ready to shoot. But I think that just goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, it's been nothing special. Like, it's been nothing that has come out the blue. It's been no secret formula. Like, we just, on that play, on the biggest plays, and the biggest moments, you flex the muscles that you've been working on all year, and that play is exactly what we did.
Shai, this is now back-to-back games where you guys had like huge swing minutes from that lineup with the bench with Caruso, Case, and Wiggins. But can you just talk about the overall depth and how that's helped you guys succeed in the playoffs, even to guys like Jay Will?
Yeah, it's helped us succeed all year, really. Being able to play that many guys, get some guys rest, also be able to throw different personnel out there so it's not as like scripted. It's a little harder to guard. And we have a bunch of guys that like can go in and impact the basketball game no matter the stage, no matter the game. And we use it to our strength, and that's what's made us who we are.
Dean, go ahead.
Yeah, SGA, wondering if this was the most physical of the games so far. And on that play with Russ where you went down, the fans, for what it's worth, they thought it seemed like a dirty play. How did you look at it? What did you think about that play?
I don't know. I was just trying to play fast, and Russ came out of nowhere, fouled me. Like, I didn't think much of it, to be honest. It happened so fast as well. I'm glad I got a foul call, but I didn't think it was ill intention at all or anything. I think he was just trying to stop the play.
You guys had third quarter. You came out of a timeout. You really started driving against the zone. Had several drives and several possessions. They had to call timeout. Did that at all kind of loosen things up for the fourth quarter? Because you really were kind of struggling offensively to get inconsistency going.
I'm not too sure. I think like it's always going to come down to like just being aggressive and just like whatever they present to you, you take what they give you. I did a better job of that in the second half, and I think that's why I had more success. Now in these big games, big moments, like you can get caught up in the emotion and wanting to take over in certain parts of the game, but like trying to stay true to the possession game and stay true to just reading what they're giving you is the trick of the trade. So I regrouped at halftime and did a better job of that, I think, in the second half, and was able to have a little bit of success.
Hey, Shai, what do you expect from a closeout game in Denver for Game 6?
Their greatest punch. I'm sure they don't want to go home just as bad as we don't, so we'll probably get the best game out of them.
We can go Barry for last question for Shai.
Yeah, well, I think it's the last two games Marcus has shaken up your rotation. Yeah. You're going out late first quarter. Why is that, and how, whatever the reason, how effective do you think it's been?
Yeah, Mark is a good coach. He throws wrinkles in the game. He comes to me and asks me if I'm with it. I tell him I don't care as long as my minutes don't change. But yeah, he is coaching. I let him do his thing. I'm cool with it.
Thank you, Shai. Questions for Dub? Go ahead, Gallo.
Dub, in the first half, Denver was able to kind of get on the glass and score in the paint, but in the second half, particularly fourth quarter, you guys were able to kind of seal that off. Tell me about that aspect of the game and how you can kind of stop that freight train when it's already on the tracks.
Man, I think just having the right approach throughout the whole entire game, and you kind of just gotta like stay real steadfast in your approach and like trust what we're trying to get accomplished. They hit some like tough shots just the whole game, and you kind of just got to stick with it and do your whole thing. I think it was really easy for us to probably like cave in a couple of times. I think Jokic hit a back foot fadeaway three that you kind of want to say is crazy, but he's done it so much, and I think we just had the right approach about next play and just stacking possessions and trying to impose our will, and we did a good job. That's it.
Yeah.
Shit.
You hit the corner three late, and afterwards you're kind of, I don't know if you're yelling at your wrist or your hand. Can you
talk about that or no?
What?
Did you hear his question?
I didn't hear it.
Oh, can you ask your question again?
Yeah, you were yelling at either your wrist or your hand as you're running toward the bench after the timeout. Can you tell us what you're saying?
I don't even remember that, to be honest. I probably gotta look at a clip or something. Yeah.
I didn't want to follow
Probably
up on
something not appropriate. to be honest.
I do want to follow up on Andrew's question on there with you yelling at your hand or whatever, but obviously there's some excitement there. There's some jubilation there. Just can you talk about just the excitement, maybe even the crowd pumping into it to kind of get over that hump?
Yeah. First off, big pass from Lou. He had just hit like 3 of them. So for him to one more it to me just shows the approach that we've had for the whole entire game. And I'm just happy I was able to knock down the shot. And obviously having Paycon behind me is a pretty cool moment. But I don't remember what I said. It probably wasn't something that I should have said on TV. So, yeah.
You mentioned Lou's threes. Just how big of a boost was that for you guys?
Yeah, man, won us the game for real. And then I think, too, it wasn't even just the shots he hit. It's just the defensive approach that he has as well. When you have both sides of the ball, and for him to make big shots and then not let up on the defensive end is the biggest thing in regards to that. So hats off to him for that. And then I think a lot of it, too, had to do with Shai trusting us down the stretch to make the big plays he did and still get off the ball and have us, play through each other. I think those two things kind of coexisted really well.
Throughout basketball history, a lot of teams, they go shorter rotations throughout the playoffs. I think Denver's playing like 7 guys or something like that. You guys go 8, 9, 10 deep. What's sort of the value, the depth on this team in terms of the playoffs?
I think it's our superpower. And our team really, really embraces it. Mark's been doing this since I've been here, where we've just had guys like, you look at my first year, like, I don't think people anticipated me to play the minutes I was playing. And just from then on, like, everybody is available, everybody's ready to go, and everybody knows that. And I think that gives guys a lot of confidence to come in the game and make an impact.
Jalen, I think a lot of people looked at this game as, not must win. You got 2 more after this, but, with the scenarios out there, need to win probably is the way a lot of people might have looked at it. For you guys to have come out, to have weathered the storm, what does it sort of say just about where you guys are at this point and, experience and learning and all those sorts of things?
We're just getting better through the experiences. Obviously, the series is very far from over. We're going to have another fight like tonight. Mark said something that really has stuck with us a lot is like everybody on the team wants to win so bad that in the game you kind of have to hone that in to like, let's win this possession instead of like, let's win the game. You know what I mean? Because then you kind of get sidetracked. So we just try and take it possession at a time and build out from there. It's very easy to get caught up in, it's a must win or whatever's going on. I think we've done a good job of just trying to just get better each possession and go from there.
Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, Jan, you guys, you were so dominant in the regular season. You didn't have many games like this, the way most teams do. You won a tight one in Denver, but it's sort of a slog game. Tonight you won with a lot of good plays on the offensive end. How important is that to execute and come through in crunch time? Is that a sign that you're growing up or just surviving? What's that a sign of?
I don't think we're just surviving, but I don't even want to say like we're growing up. I don't really like using that as like a excuse to like be great or like kind of use our age into it. I think we're kind of past that, me personally. I think it's just more us getting better, trusting each other. We've been through these situations. We've been through the Game 5 last year. Like, we're just kind of like going through these experiences. So I guess you could say that's like growing up, I think, in a sense, but I think it's more like just like trial by fire. Like, we've been in the positions and we trust each other, and I think that's what's going on.
Andrew?
Aaron Gordon's been big in fourth quarters in this series tonight, 0 of 3. Anything different you guys showed him tonight?
Well, I mean, how many Jamal have 30 and Jokic have 44? They were kind of running through them a lot. Yeah, but he has been really good this series, and somebody that we've definitely had to key in on and do that. But I don't know about anything different. I probably got to go back and like really look at what happened in that fourth quarter. But I think a lot of it was them playing through the guy that almost had 50.
Yeah. Anybody else? We can go last one to Joel.
Yeah, I think you kind of already got asked about this, but the moment where you hit the 3 late and you're screaming at your wrist, I think that's the wrist that's sort of been bothering you.
My wrist has been bothering me?
You tell me. Is that not true?
No, I feel great.
I've just seen you wearing tape on it.
Man, I've had tape on so much shit during the season. Nah, my wrist is cool. Honestly, that was an out-of-body experience. I just remember hitting the three, and it was really loud, and then I remember getting to the bench, and Jay Will was yelling at me, and then I had like that like ringing noise. So I don't really remember the stint. People were sending me videos of me yelling at my hand. Like, I really don't remember it. I don't know why I did it, but I don't know. When it's loud in there and you have that much energy, like, it might make you do like a backflip. Like, there's just so much energy involved in Paycom, so that's my... No. I sure wouldn't have tried up three.
Thanks, Del.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lou, you hit that third three, and they call a timeout, and you just had this moment of reaction heading to the bench. Tell me about that feeling as you're walking towards your guys.
It's a lot of energy, honestly. Shout out to the crowd. The crowd got a lot of emotion out of me today. They were great. I just had to keep trusting it, honestly. Jay will find me on a good pass, and I just had to shoot it.
And Lou, that moment and just the entire fourth, knowing that Mark turned to you after going with Case in last game, the fact that he turned to you in that moment and kept you the rest of the game, what does that mean to you? And I guess, how would you describe the kind of faith he has in you?
It's just the trust. I mean, Coach Mark is a big reason why I have this success in this league. He's the first coach that called me in the game my rookie year. So, I have a lot of trust in him, and he has a lot of trust in me at the same time. And, next man up, Queso had a great game last game, and he hit some big shots. So he had to make the right move for the team, and I stand by that as well. So, everybody on the team got to stay ready. He went back to me today in the fourth. I had to stay ready, and I was out there playing hard.
And plenty of the conversation surrounding you guys into the postseason was, whether you guys could, especially the series, whether you could, match the sort of experience Denver has and sort of win clutch games. Just knowing what you did down the stretch and seeing a shot Dub hit, shot Shai hit, like, what's going through your head as it's unfolding?
We getting better, honestly. It was kind of hard this season to prepare for those type of moments. There's a lot of games we didn't have a lot of close games during the season, but it's happening in the postseason, and we ready. We getting better. After every game we watch film and we see some of the stuff we can get better at, especially from the first game and the third game and the fourth game, whatever. But we're just getting better, and we see some of the stuff that we can get better at.
Andrew, go ahead.
Lou, where does your fearlessness as a shooter come from? You've had a lot of playoff games where you've taken a lot of threes and moments up and down for you even in this series. But where does that fearlessness come from for you?
Honestly, the work. I put a lot of work in. I work on those type of shots. I've been in a situation before. I've been the worst. So, I just got to keep believing in myself. My teammates have my backs all the time. I had a great year shooting the three this year, so I got to keep believing and keep trusting it, and I'll keep doing that.
Go ahead, Jenny.
Hey, Lou, Mark was saying that you guys aren't out to answer any outside questions in these playoffs, but the way that you guys have won these last two games, have you guys internally gotten any answers about yourselves, just what this team is about, anything like that?
Honestly, we just gotta execute, play our game. It's a tough team. A lot of experience. They know what they're doing. So, like I said, we getting better from the previous game. We just got to stay confident, stay at it, and just execute our stuff, and we'll be fine.
Lou, defensively, just chasing a guy like Jamal around all series. I know you guys are obviously close. What's that been like, just competing against him in this series?
Competing, like you said. He's a tough player. He's going to make a lot of tough shots. Yeah, he's a good player. I just gotta make everything tough, honestly. Keep my pressure, contest everything, but we just gotta go out there and compete.
Lou, you hit those 3 threes, and you guys were down 9, and you hit the 3 threes in a very short span. Besides getting the score close or caught up, what did you sense as how important that was to the momentum, the confidence, just the spirit of your teammates, the crowd, everybody?
Yeah, like you said, a little bit of everything. Honestly, they had it going. They was hitting some tough shots. They was making their runs, but us on the bench, timeouts and all that, we kept talking to each other, saying that we good, that we can fight through this. And we just kept trusting each other, moving the ball and finding the right shots. And I was open for some of them, and I made them. But it was great from the team and the crowd at the same time.
Michael Martin.
Lou, you sort of touched on both, but AC's talked about the amnesia you need to have as a great defender. You talked about how Jamal's going to make great shots, but you sort of have to just wipe that. The same with offense of just sort of your confidence. Where does that sort of mental fortitude and strength come from, and how have you built that up of being able to just wipe away bad possessions on either end?
Yeah, like I said, the work, the experience I went through, my first playoff experience, it was kind of like that where, I wasn't that good of a shooter, but now I just got to keep trusting it. I spend a lot of time in the gym. I got to trust from my teammates, from my coaches. So, just really be in the game and let the game come to me, honestly. But, I got to stay confident.
Luke, you're involved in a lot of those pick and rolls with Jokic and the physicality between the two of you just going on this entire series. Like, are you surprised about how he can show up like in a fourth quarter like this, just in the physicality he's playing with and just his energy level going up? I mean, obviously you go back and forth with him. You're physical with him.
Yeah, he's a great player. He's been in those situations before. He know what to do. He's a big guy, really physical. So we just gotta match that. Obviously, he's way taller than me, so I'm trying my best to battle with him. But I know. But yeah, it's not me. Honestly, it's just credit to J. Will, Hart, and Chet, and all the guys that we throw at him. But like you said, he's a great player, and he's gonna make a lot of tough shots.
Thank you, Lou.
Mark, whether it be the extra passing, the team defense, the rotations, just tell me about the level of trust that this team exhibited tonight in a gut check game.
Yeah, great job hanging in there. First of all, we didn't play great. We were a little sloppy in the first half on both ends of the floor. That was as loose as we've been defensively, really since game one, or maybe worse than game one. I'll have to watch it, but. To hang in there the way we did and get back on track was impressive. And then I thought we closed really well. Both ends of the floor, high level of connection. Guys played great.
Mark, you went away from Lou late last game. He doesn't start the fourth, but you go to him and he plays the rest of the way, hits 3 threes, saves some pretty huge possessions. Can you describe your faith in him?
Yeah, I don't bet against Lou. It's that simple. He's just got an unbelievable. There's just a special thing about him. He's always going to stand back up. He's not perfect, but he's always going to respond. He's always going to compete. You always can count on him to do that. And I don't like betting against that guy.
And all series we've asked you about your comparative experience and clutch time minutes, and for my money, it feels like you just clutched up maybe the biggest game in this building. Just what are your thoughts going down the stretch, and I guess how do you feel about your team in clutch time?
I mean, the close games are. First of all, our execution was excellent. I thought we executed as well as we have, in the playoffs. Down the stretch of a close game, we had a couple in Memphis, and then we had the few here, and our execution was very good. But at the end of the day, those games can come down to one shot, one play. It could go either way. So you can't overreact to the outcome. I just thought our process tonight down the stretch was excellent. We got into stuff. We were organized on both ends of the floor, no breakdowns, and strong execution.
I think going into the fourth quarter, you're 7 of 20 from 3. Then Lou hits 3 in that 2-minute stretch, and then you close with J-Dub and Shai hitting big threes. Was that just what the defense gave those guys? I mean, what turned it around from distance for you here?
I mean, Lou, stepped in with confidence and made big shots during that stretch. That was huge because we were, down whatever we were, 9 or 10 around that time. The two down the stretch, Shai's just taking what they gave him. He was clean on that one. He didn't force that. It was a great rhythm shot. And the dub one was a great early pass by Shai, extra by Lou to generate a really good look. So, like I said, I thought our process down the stretch on both ends of the floor was really, really clean.
Quick follow-up on Jalen Williams. Jay Will gave you a nice little spark in the third quarter. Then you subbed him in with Chet after Lou hit that first three with about 8 minutes left. A couple of rebounds, a couple of good defensive possessions on Joker, and then a couple of nice passes, too. What did you think about his minutes, and how big was he tonight?
Yeah, he was huge. He's been huge in this series, but Hart in the first quarter, I let his stint linger too long. We're trying to keep these guys fresh, especially the guys that are handling the major matchups. And so that was on me. And getting to him earlier in both the third and fourth and keeping everybody fresh for Jokic was a huge point of emphasis. So, but he stepped up. I mean, Jalen is a unbelievable competitor. He made big time plays. He had a great pass to Chet there down the stretch, and played great D on Jokic.
Mark, 68 wins, all the good things that happened this season, but a lot of people question you guys' inexperience and everything else, and playoff, toughness, whatever. You guys are trading licks back and forth in that fourth quarter. What does a game like this do to answer some of those critics, and what does it just do for the confidence of the team overall?
Yeah, we don't play to answer anybody. We just play for one another, for our fans. The guys have an unbelievable connection in the locker room. That's enough for us. And they've had an unbelievable spirit. That's why they've accomplished what they've accomplished to this point. And it's why they show the type of resolve on a night, like I said, that we, for a lot of that game, we didn't have our fastball, but we hung around long enough and showed great will and connectedness down the stretch.
Mark, this is now back-to-back games of really impactful minutes from that trio of Kaysen, Caruso, and Wiggins. What is it about those three guys in particular that allows them to play so well together and sort of amplify each other?
I just think, first of all, they're all like team first guys. The whole team is, but those guys are team first guys. They compete together. They complement one another's with their skills. Kaysen and Caruso defensively, there's a great contrast there. They bring different things to the table, but they really play together. They have great chemistry out there, but all the guys do. But that unit was big in the second quarter. They kind of stabilized the game for us, and then obviously gave us good minutes in the second half.
Coach, what did you see from Joker in terms of energy? I mean, he did look just worn slick in that last game, and tonight not only does he make everything, but he looks like there was plenty of energy.
I mean, he responded like great players respond to adversity. Like we knew coming into the game that we were going to get a very, very potent version of him, and we did. He was decisive and quick and forceful. He was, just beating the guy on the ball. He was beating the shell, getting to his spots, and we just have to understand going into Game 6 in Denver, like this is a prideful team. He's a prideful player. Like that's exactly what we're getting. They're going to approach this game the exact same way with the same type of physicality, force, and we can't be late to that party.
Coach.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. It feels weird to ask somebody who won 68 games, like if their team is still learning how to win games, but it feels like in these playoffs, especially the way Denver's pushed you guys, have you had to learn how to win these types of battles and these kind of slower games that they've been putting you guys through?
Yeah, I think, I said this after Game 4, and I'll reiterate it now. I actually think we're a better team today than we were at the beginning of the series. Like we're definitely evolving and growing and learning, despite the fact that we think we can play with anybody, and we've had some success. That doesn't stop us from growing. This is a humble group of guys that stay grounded through the success, and that's what allows them to continually improve despite the success. And so we've had to really test ourselves through 5 games. Game 6 is going to be a massive test for us in Denver because it's on the road and because of the way they're going to play. And we'll grow from that as well, regardless of outcome.
Coach, in terms of confidence, to see a player like Shai, a young player, assume control in the second half and in the game's biggest moments, just from your own experience and your own vantage point, how do you see that pushing him and continuing to see him grow.
Yeah, Shai in particular.
Yes.
Yeah, I like our team. I don't think he had his fastball early tonight. I thought there were some plays that he could have gotten calls on. He didn't. He got hit. He went down there and played through that, and just didn't seem to be in the same rhythm and flow that he's normally in the first half. It's the playoffs. We're talking about Jokic the last couple games, but what the great players do is they rise, in the face of those challenges and adversities. And I just thought he got more and more composed as the game went on and settled into the game. And despite the fact that the pressure was mounting and it got hotter in there, he got cooler, and just kind of settled into it, made the right plays, let the game tell him what to do. He was unbelievable. He closed that thing down the stretch.
Both teams scored a lot in the paint tonight. What do you feel led to that?
I mean, both teams have not scored a lot in the paint in the series, and that's how these things unfold. Is you get confronted with very uncomfortable problems, and then you have to solve them, together. And while we're trying to solve our problems, they're trying to solve theirs. And I thought both teams tonight, showed the remnants of that. They solved some of the things that have been bothering them that we've been doing. We solved some of the things that have been bothering us, and that's what a series does to you. It's just it's a slog in that way. But both teams played better in certain areas of the game tonight. And you tip your hat to them. And I thought we did a good job ourselves.
This will be the last question to Barry, then we have players.
Yeah, Mark, when Lou, you were down 9 when Lou made 3 threes in a 4-possession span. Clearly, the 9 points is important. You needed it. But what did that do to the rest of the guys to see Lou make those 3 shots in a short span, just from an energy and confidence perspective?
Yeah. It's kind of like these guys are so connected. It's kind of like if a family member of yours is hurting or happy, there's a contagiousness to that because of the connection you have to a family member. That's how they are with each other. So when they see a guy rise like that, they feel that, and Jay Will in game 2, Wiggins and Kaysen last game, it brings an energy to the whole team. It's contagious through the team because of the relationships that they have and the thing that they've built, so it breathes great energy into the team every time somebody rises back up from an adversity. And, he was obviously the story of the game with his ability to do that tonight.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, thanks.